everyone. I'm so glad to see you here. Welcome to the Orphan Red Show. It is Sunday night. I am on the vampire schedule, so good morning to my fellow vampire schedule sleepers and to people in very different time zones. I'm going to organize things a little bit on my screen. There you go. I hope everybody's doing well today. It's been a busy day with live streams on Flat Earth YouTube, so that's been a little bit fantastic actually. I like when there are a lot of live streams, there's a lot going on, because it means that people have things to talk about, except for the live streams that are just very repetitive. Mine sometimes fall into that category, but I do try not to let them fall into that too badly. So I will check out what's happening in chat. And say hello to everyone. It's always a bit tricky. Okay, so who's here today? Earth is seriously flat. Thank you for starting off the show with a super chat. I really appreciate that. It helps support what I do, so thank you. CC, hello, I'm glad to see you here. And Jean-Vincent, I had to go to sleep because the time zone does not work for him. He always shows up at the beginning before I start and then has to go to sleep before I get around to starting, so. Risky Poodles, hello. Sultan of Symmetry, I haven't seen you in a while. Ice Cube Ice Ring, hello there. I've been seeing you in other people's chats quite a lot lately. It's nice to see you here. TC Johnson, hello. I know. I haven't even started, and already the thumbs down campaign has begun by the minions of the opposing team. It's kind of hashtag same team, except for the people who are not on our team because they're on the team that we oppose, even though it's all the one Flat Earth community. Hello, Javier Fernandez. How are you? And Rick Rolled, hello, I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. I'm glad to see you here. Archetype Zero, hello. Matrix is here. Auntie Meg, it was so kind. When I set up my live stream, she let me know that Antonio was just starting his, so that's why I kind of delayed mine a little bit, because I don't like to overlap too much, because I always find it, I'm always torn when there are two YouTubers that I want to listen to and they're both live streaming at the same time, because I prefer to watch live streams live so that I can participate in chat rather than after the fact, of course. Glenn is here. Rune Thorenson, hello. So I think what I might do is Antonio Subidats, hello. I'm glad to see you here. I'm going to be showing the special image that we created together, so hopefully that will be fun. And Antonio, you have a wrench, so please feel free to clean up the trolls. Oh, Jean-Vincent, you're still here. You stayed up. Fantastic. Someone's asking, what is the music? It is the free music from YouTube, royalty free. So we have had Tape Deck, which is one of my favorites to begin with. Hello. And Champion is here. Hashtag Effie Drama. Yes, today we're going to talk about drama. I initially titled my live stream Sex Lies and Videotape, and YouTube immediately demonetized my my live stream, so I just deleted it, renamed it Six Lies and Videotape, and here we are. The people of Earth, is my mic not working? Let me know. Glenn C, hello there, and Kasparov is back again. P. Murray, I was just talking to you or seeing you in Antonio's chat. I'm glad everybody's here. Lots to talk about today. People of Earth keep saying mic check. Can someone let me know if my mic is working? Please? If you're hearing the music, then I suspect the mic is working. Let me know if you liked my Putin is our king little image to start off. Should I maybe ask in chat? Oh, sound is fine. Thank you, Rune. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, no soup for you, says YouTube. That's exactly right. I just used that little controversial term, ooh la la. So we can talk about 6 lies, but not other kind of lies. Things I want to talk about. Antonio says there was one troll here, but as soon as he saw the pawns image, he ran away. Fantastic, because we are going to be. Yes, thank you, Antonio. We are going to be talking about the pawns image, and we are going to be talking about flat Earth drama and sex. Ooh, sexy? No. Sex, yes, but not sexy. Lies in the flat Earth truth community. It's really interesting because one of the things about the flat Earth community is that we're all here because we're passionately interested in truth and knowledge and in researching for ourselves what is true. And so it strikes me as very bizarre when an idea or a concept or a claim starts running through the flat Earth community on YouTube without anyone really investigating it or determining the validity of the claim, figuring out, is this truth or not, and then they present it on their channel without comment. I think that that's problematic, because if you're presenting information on your YouTube channel without comment, well, that's implicitly supporting that, right? And so as flat earthers, as people who reject the globe model because we've looked into it, because we're not willing to accept easy answers without knowing that they're true, then we should be wary when YouTube channels of flat earthers are posting content that they haven't verified. So I do want to get into that today. First, though, let's look at the flat Earth pawns image that Antonio and I were working on. Poor Antonio, because there's such an hour time difference, and I forget. And so I'm all energetic. Oh, we're doing the images, and we're working, and we're being all creative. Meanwhile, it's 6 a.m. for him. So that's probably less fun for him than it is for me. So I am going to, if I can find my OBS somewhere on my desktop, I'm going to show you the image that I'm oh so pleased about. But first, because it amuses me, oh my goodness, so we all know that I am Putin's #1 fan, and I went to a magical conference. I shouldn't say magical, conference, and made some amazing friends, met some great people, and one of them could not get over the fact that I quite like Putin, that I was #1 fan in Canada, and so he sent me these images. Oh my goodness. I find this so amusing. I just do. I was watching, here, let me just move these so that you guys can see them. Hold on. I've been watching, have been watching Barry on HBO, the Barry show. It's hilarious. And it makes me giggle so deeply. The absurdity of it just amuses me so intensely. And there's something about these images that has the same effect. So here you go. I will let you look at that for a second while I grab my drink for the evening that is too far away on my desk for me to reach. So hopefully you find that as amusing as I do. I don't know which one I like better, actually. Let me know in chat. Which one do we like best? Hold on, I have the wrong background because for some reason I have my blue. Here we go. Let's transition to this. And then maybe we can put my little webcam. No, I don't want to do that. So here we have, please vote in chat. Which do we like best? Putin, our king on his unicorn? Or do we prefer, let me see if I can get this up. Or Putin, king of the world, with his laser bears. Oh my goodness. I need to move things around so that we can see the next image properly. And it's just going to take me 1 second. My music is too soft. We cannot hear it. I will adjust that momentarily. But first this. Okay, so my favorite is by far, I think now, looking at them, Putin, king of the world, and his laser bears. You know, Putin's going to save us in the end. Russia has banned all but non-GMO crops. So that's going to be interesting when all the other peoples in the world are having problems with the GMO crops, and Russia is, oh, fine, source of food, readily available. That's going to be interesting. Jean-Vincent likes the unicorn one. We have a champion voting for the laser bears. Oh, Risky Poodle says that Jeranism's stream from earlier today has been blocked because they were covering the lies of NASA and the moon landing hoax. Interesting. Oops. Oh, did I just shut off all my chats? Hopefully not. No. Okay. Ice Cream says it's still a little sexy tonight. I'm wearing my princess dress for you. I hope you enjoy that. Edward Baxter, hello and welcome, Earth-Shape Agnostic. You are welcome here in the Orphan Red video show. Yes, I do welcome agnostics, or people who are just entertained or amused by the flat earth theory, because I think as long as you're interested in playing with ideas and evaluating different concepts, then I welcome you here. I'm glad to see you here. Oh, I'm glad that the Putin, our king, images is as amusing to you as to me. Daniel Dog says he likes the bear, he's an alpha. Oh la la. Oh, and tonight I am drinking Dear Lucen Riesling because it's delicious. Glenn says Nostradamus called it that Putin would save the world. And there was also a woman prophetess, a seer, I think from the 1800s, and she also saw that North America, Canada, that we would fall to the Russians. And when I first heard that, I thought, oh my goodness, the Russians are going to attack Canada. That's terrible. Now, with all the madness going on, I think, maybe that's for the best. Edward is converted. Fantastic. P. Murray Level Earth, UK. I do have legs, and if you want to see them, I have one video called, I think it's still called Flat Earth Songify, where you see my entire body at once. PewDiePie and I, the legless one, so how sad for us. Yes, Champion says, happy Fodiversary. I don't know, I think we've seen a lot of flat earthers talking about the moon landing anniversary, the moon landing hoax, and so I'm not really going to touch on that tonight. I do think it's terrible, though, that Jeranism's video from this morning covering it in detail has been taken down. Hello, Love, Wisdom, Harmony. Okay, so let's talk about this image that's over here and to our left, maybe your right. I'm not quite clear on that right now. To my left, to your right, I suspect, we see the Flat Earth Pond. So I'm actually going to move this over so that you can see it a little bit better. Let's minimize me a little bit. Oh, there's lots to cover tonight. Okay, there we go. So what are we seeing here? Here we are seeing the Flat Earth, Antonio Subaret's Flat Earth model. Um, his map is in the center, and we see Antarctica all around the outside, all the ice and snow. And then we see these other ponds, and these other ponds having their own suns, having their own electromagnetic fields, and having their own magnetic fields, right? So we have our magnetic field, this bubble around our pond, that is induced by the relationship between the sun and the earth, right? Which also induces a layer of plasma. We talked about plasmas last week. We call it the ionosphere. And the ionosphere right now is shrinking and collapsing because the sun is entering into a lower activity phase. So it's dimming, it's not producing as much solar wind, and as a consequence of this, the plasma between us, because the sun is being less effective, that plasma is being reduced, and it's shrinking, and it's lowering, and perhaps collapsing. And so this encroaching pond that we see, let's see down here, we're seeing this pond down there. Its magnetic field is expanding because the cycles of the sun, they're kind of each going, I'm very small, so I have to make sure I'm centered there. They're going their own little circuitous paths over there, each their own petal. And then at some point in the cycle, they sync up. And then there is an effect of that. And they're syncing up while our sun is in its dimmest, weakest phase. Perhaps the sun of that pond might be in its strongest phase. And so for whatever reason, in this little cyclical path, something happens, and then their sun then now is coming, their magnetic field bubble is encroaching onto ours. And I talked about this with Antonio when I had him on several weeks ago to talk about all these ancient myths about the invader sun. We see the sun god Osiris, and then there's this other sun god, Set, evil Set, who comes in and invades, and he ends up killing our sun Osiris. And for a while there's a little sun, and now they call that Osiris's son, Horus. And so then we see this little son, Horus, and he just fades away, and then Set becomes the new king. So the sun from that other pond becomes our sun, and the old sun, our old sun, just fizzles out because of how it works. We talked about this in detail with Antonio, so if you want to go over those details, please look in my live streams of the past 2 months. I think it's somewhere in there. Okay, so we know that this has happened before, we know that it will happen again, and so now we have this field encroaching up, and that's what we're seeing down here. We're seeing down here this other pond. Well, that pond's sun and its field is encroaching onto our field, and it's coming up right between South America and Africa, and that's where we find the South Atlantic magnetic anomaly, and that's basically the effect of this encroaching field. Theoretically, this is the theory. It's a very interesting theory, and it actually accounts for a lot of the discrepancies in the standard model. And so another thing that we're seeing, and we can see on this map, is when this encroaching field is pushing up in the South Atlantic, then our North Magnetic Pole is being repelled, and so it's rushing away from northern Canada towards Siberia, and the Southern Magnetic Pole is moving away towards Australia to get out of the way of this encroaching field. So, and then we see these other ponds, and they're doing their own thing. They're not encroaching on us at the moment. They're just living their little lives. So this is a really good model, and it incorporates people who have ideas about alien visitations. This accounts for that as well, because it would just be the dwellers of these neighboring ponds. Okay, looking into chat to see what your response is to this. Nick Daigle. Oh, right. Okay. Thank you, Edward, who says bonkers. That's an intellectual critique. Precisely. If you can't argue against the information and you have to call us names, that doesn't say much for your position, does it? Bob says, ooh, late night physics. B. Murray says, that's why people are seeing two suns recently. How many other versions are there? And Champion says, Horus is the moon. Oh, and my dress is undone. So Horus was actually another sun. It was Osiris's wife, Isis, who was the moon goddess, actually, in that mythology. Hello, Sapphire Sword. Happy to see you here. Eric Walker says, has this multiple pond idea been verified? Shouldn't we, since we shouldn't indulge unverified material? No, we're putting this forward as a new model, as a new theoretical model for evaluation, for testing, for the community to work on, to figure out how can we test this? How can we figure out the validity of this model? And that's how I'm presenting it to you today. I'm not presenting it to you as, I have proof that this is true. I'm saying, here's a model that accounts for a lot of discrepancies in the standard model. It accounts for a lot of what we're observing. It accounts for things that that the standard model does not predict, cannot explain. And so it's a really strong theoretical model. And so I am presenting it as such. So please take it as such. Fractal Escape, hello there, says, have I heard the idea that our flat earth is just one honeycomb of an immense infinite pattern? I have not heard that. I would like to see the basis on which that theory stems from, what data that comes from. Hello, Jose Gonzalez. I'm happy to see you here too. If you demand that I'm happy to see you, then I shall comply with that demand. Okay, so Rune Thornton asks, what tells you it is specifically that pond between South America and South Africa that's getting wider and not the others? So this is based on the anomalous magnetic phenomena that are happening on the Earth. And so we know that there's a South Atlantic anomaly, and there are also solar anomalies. So the sun is behaving a little bit erratically in this area, and the equinox is they're weird observations. And so and again, it's theoretical. So if there are people who want to contribute to the further development of this theory, by looking at information, looking at how it works with it and how it doesn't, and so we can kind of, I mean, that's what we're here for, right? We're here to figure out what truth is and to evaluate information and test it and see what we find. Take what you want, leave the rest. So take what you find to be interesting enough because it's based on sound enough evidence that you think, okay, this is actually worth looking into further, and what you think, okay, this doesn't have enough of a founding. For example, the honeycomb Earth model, for me, I don't see that as having sufficient evidence or information that supports it as a theory. So I leave that aside and I pursue this model, this theory, because I think that there's more to it. And so that's how that works. And we are all free to choose the ones that we prefer and want to look into further, right? Edward Baxter says, perhaps the ponds are not on a plane, but on a huge planet. The suns are specific to each pond. So the idea that each pond is actually on a huge round ball, there's actually no evidence for that. And it wouldn't really work because, for the same reasons that the globe model doesn't work. Get a gyroscope and just put it on your desk and just watch it for 2 years and see what you figure out from that. Hello, Sandra Kennedy. Sandra Kennedy said, a couple of years ago, so I brushed my teeth before starting my live stream, and the mint and the wine, I'm going to have to put my wine down for a second because that has to settle. A couple of years ago, I was trying to draw my interpretation of the Earth model, and this puddle theory sprang out. I believe this is the one true model. Very interesting, Sandra Kennedy. So yeah, people have intuitive inklings about, I don't know, information, and sometimes they converge onto one model, and I think that's interesting. Good morning, Dan W. Hello, Ace McLeod, 33. Oh my goodness. So I would like to interview, I think I'm going to ask Marty Leeds if he wants to come on my channel. If he does, though, ooh, I won't be wearing a princess dress, and we're going to have to be very serious and talk in a very serious voice. Knock the voice down, try to push it down an octave. Maybe less giggling. No Russian Putin King of the World images. We would have to be very serious for Marty Leeds. No, I'm joking, actually. A little bit. But yeah, I would like to have Marty Leeds on. Let me know what you guys think about that. Would that be fun? I would like to talk to him a little bit about Flat Earth and his views on it and his documentary on it and his reception into the Flat Earth community, and then, you know, kind of his journey through it, and I would also like to talk about the findings that he's making in his gematria, and the fascinating evidence he finds for intelligent design at the fundamental level of our reality, that there are patterns expressed throughout all the different levels of our reality, but those underlying patterns, they are information and they are intelligence, and that there is a preference for the good in our universe and the moral. So I would like to do that. So if that sounds interesting to you, after the live stream ends, please leave a comment down below, and maybe leave a comment on one of Marty Leeds' videos saying, "Hey Marty Leeds, why don't you go chat with Orphan Red for a little bit?" I think that would be fun. I would like to see what his response is to this model as well. So, Sapphire Sword, has he been active? Yeah, he's making live streams. If you didn't know that Marty Leeds is still making live streams, it's because I think his channel was blocked because he was spreading too much truth, and so he had to come up with a backup channel. So I think that's what's going on there. Okay. So let me. If you like this model, or even if you just appreciate the fact that there are people working on these, that we're trying to come up with truth, leave a comment down below of saying, "Hey, I appreciate that," and give the video a thumbs up because the thumbs down campaigners have come and left their mark, and it's a little bit demoralizing. Okay, so I'm going to move this a little bit out of the way, or maybe I'll just make it smaller. Give me one moment here. And I'm going to do this and try to remember what it was that I said that we were going to talk about. You know, it's still early in the morning for me because of my vampire schedule, so I think that's kind of what's going on there. Oh yes, the drama. We're going to talk about the Flat Earth drama because I think that that's really important. We need to address this. Let me put this here, and let me put that there. Hello. There I am. There you are. Okay. So we're going to talk about something. Ooh, this is a little bit more serious. Hello, Metal Dog Ride. Thank you very much. So, okay. Yeah, Kasparov, I just got what you meant by Rogan's up, everyone. I do watch Owen Benjamin, and he does compare Joe Rogan to a thumb. The government is censoring Flat Earth, says Curve Pimp. It's interesting. It's not so much censorship as mucking about with Flat Earthers, with Flat Earth channels, promoting the anti-Flat Earthers. So, okay. Um, yeah. So, here's the thing. There's an article going around written by someone on a website that no one had ever heard of before, a small website. If you look at the categories for the different articles, they're kind of interesting article categories. So they write a lot of the blogs are about Israel. And then there's this article, blog, I don't even know, diary entry, love letter. I don't even know how to describe it. But it purports to be an interview with Pat Steer. In this Pat Steer interview, Pat makes claims that she's been raped by a member of our Flat Earth YouTube community. Now, I believe that, in my opinion, lying about rape is a horrific thing to do. It undermines all and disempowers all real victims of rape. And especially in the aftermath of the Me Too movement, people should know better than to make false accusations. Just give me 1 second. I just have to fix this. Someone just have to remove this. Sorry guys, a little bit of maintenance in the middle of the video. Okay, let's hide this. Oh wait, we're playing something annoying. Okay, sorry guys, I want the chat to be nice for everyone, so we don't want the chat to be annoying. So we're going to remove comments, and we are going to block people who are making inappropriate comments, but we're not going to use their names because we don't want to give them attention, because that's what they want, so we will withhold. Okay, so and then back to chat. Okay. And let me know if we need another wrench. Okay, so yes, rape accusations that are false. Do not make false rape accusations. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. It's a terrible thing to do. It does undermine real victims of rape. It does disempower real victims of rape, because what it does is, when you make false rape claims that are then shown to be false, then the next woman who comes forward and claims to have been raped, well, people are less likely to believe her, because then there's this kind of this idea of like, well, you know, a lot of people lie about these things. Don't lie about those things, because we can't have that attitude. If someone comes forward and claims that they've been raped, that should be taken seriously, but it can't be if there are people going around falsely claiming to have been raped. So, and how rape is defined is important as well, because you might say, well, I was technically raped because in the state of California, for example, if you promise to marry someone and then you have sex with them without actually intending to marry them, and then afterwards, after you've had sex with them, you don't follow through, you don't marry them, in California, that's still on the books as rape. And so it's just an old law that they haven't updated. So promising to marry someone and then having sex with them, in reality, really would be taking their virginity and then not marrying them, because when these laws were made, when women, that was an honor thing. Women had to be a virgin when they were married. That in California is considered rape, but that's not rape the way we understand rape to be, right? That's very different from non-consensual, sorry, I'm tired, non-consensual sex, right? Non-consensual sex, rape, having sex with someone and not marrying them, legally, technically in California, rape, but that's not the common understanding of it. So if you thought someone was intending to marry you and you slept with them and then they didn't end up marrying you, to go around telling people the person raped you, I think is horrific. And I think it's a slap in the face to all victims of rape, in the sense that we actually understand rape, the word rape to mean. And so here's the thing. So that's how it began. And then from there, from that initial Pat Steer telling this other YouTuber, Flat Earth YouTuber Stephen Chess, that Pat had been raped, in that sex had happened with an intention of marriage, but then that intention proved to have been misleading because the person had not actually been intending to marry Patricia. So that then morphed into, accusation of violent rape. And so in this article, the rape is described as violent rape, non-consensual rape. This is a horrible topic to talk about. I don't like to talk about this. The reason that I'm talking about this is because, hold on, I'm just gonna, okay, so the reason that I'm talking about this horrific topic that I don't want to talk about is because in the Flat Earth, we've seen all these prominent Flat Earther YouTube channels posting the narration of this article. So this article is accusing one of our community members of forcible rape, and people are posting this on their YouTube channels without comment, without saying, I don't know either way. But here's the thing, if you're a Flat Earther, it's not even about saying you don't know either way. Have you not looked into it? Have you investigated it? Or are you just putting it on your channel as truth? Are you putting it as on your channel to support this article, which supports these claims that are being made about one of our community members? And so you're implying agreement with the article. And so why are you agreeing with this article that contains these terrible accusations against one of our own without having looked into it to find out whether those accusations are true? And if you even do the slightest bit of research, you find out that there was sketchy bacon things going on with this. So there are screen captures, and there is documentation, and there are videos, and there is copies of Skype conversations, and copies of Hangouts, and copies of not aired Hangouts, where these things are discussed, where these things are done, and showing that the story was initially that the rape was non-violent, that the rape was basically intention of marriage, sex, and then the discovery that the intention of marriage wasn't actually true, that there was no real marriage intended, or the marriage actually didn't go through with it. Then that shifted to, I'm frightened of this person, I've been raped, I said please don't, I said stop, I said it hurts, and the person didn't stop. And that's what the story morphed into, and that's the version that ended up in this article that everybody is posting on their YouTube channels and sharing, implicitly supporting that story when there's evidence to show that that story is not true, that it wasn't. And so here's the thing, someone asked me, where do you stand on this? What's your take on this? Are you standing by this accused rapist? And my first response, not having looked into it at all, I went and I read the article, and my response to the person was like, okay, it seems to me, just knowing the people involved, and when I responded, I didn't know about the screen captures, and I didn't know about the documentation, and I didn't know about the evidence that it had morphed from an accusation of sex under false pretenses of intended marriage to violent sex. I need to put my wine away for this because I'm moving around. I thought, okay, it seems, and I actually, under one of my videos, maybe I should show it. I'll show it in a little bit. In one of my videos, someone asked me about it, and I just kind of said, like, you know, when a couple is in a long-term relationship and they love each other and they trust each other, then sometimes they might choose to play games. And the love and the trust that they have for each other grounds them in implied consent in some of the games that they play. So they might choose to play a game that's a little bit, ooh, don't, ooh, stop. But they both know that they're just having a bit of kinky sex. That it's just a little kinky game that they're playing, and they trust each other so that the consent is implied. And it's kind of funny because, you know, for people who might engage in those kinds of games, it's the kind of thing, and you know that the consent is implied, and you know that both people know that, because if you've ever played some kind of a game like that, oh, don't, oh, stop, oh, it hurts, whatever it is, if he accidentally puts his hand and catches your hair wrong on the pillow, and then you're like, ow, or ow, all of a sudden he'll stop, like, oh, oops, sorry, and then move your hair out of the way, and then you can slip back into the, oh, stop, oh, it hurts. But in that moment of real pain, I'm like, ow, you're yanking on my hair, stop, like, right? Like, oh, your hand is on my hair wrong, and it's pulling. Unless that's part of your game where you're like, oh, pull my hair, right? But, like, if it's not intentional, if it's just accidentally catching the girl's hair, and it's like, ow, and then the guy's like, oh, oops, sorry, it moves your hair out of the way, and then you resume your little game fantasy of, ooh. Right? And so that's kind of how you know, like, it's implied consent. It's just a game, right? If there's actually real pain, then the game kind of pauses for a moment while you sort that out, and then you can go back into the little fantasy. And so at first I thought, okay, if two adults are deciding to have a little kinky sex game, then number one, I don't think that the entirety of the Flat Earth YouTube community should be privy to the details of their kinky sex game, right? Like, I don't, like, you guys can just do what you want to do, but, like, I don't need to know that you're playing that game. So that was kind of my idea. It was like, okay, maybe there is, and I kind of think if you're playing those games with a partner, and you're not comfortable with that game, then the onus is on you to tell your partner, like, you know what, I actually don't enjoy this game, or I don't want to play this game, and if you're in a relationship with your partner and you know each other and you trust each other, then your partner should know the difference between oh, stop, and stop, no, this is not working for me, right? And if you don't have that kind of a relationship with the person you're with, then you shouldn't be playing those games. Also, and this is for if there are any less experienced people in the chat or watching the video today, because we live in such a pornified society, and people have seen too many things in porn that they think can translate to real life but are actually horrific, and should not even be appearing in porn, but that's besides the case, besides the point. What you practice, you get better at. If you practice singing, then you get a stronger singing voice. If you practice being sadistic, then you become more sadistic. So if you're playing the game of, oh, stop, don't, but it's just like this little kind of whatever, you just, ooh, it's just, ooh, we're being naughty. That's one thing. The problem with that is that when you do that too often, ooh, we're being so naughty, that fades away, because if that's the regular game that you play, then after a while, then it doesn't feel naughty anymore, because that's just your regular love life. And so then, in order to get a little bit of excitement back, because that's why you're doing it, right? You're wanting that thrill of, ooh, it's just naughty. Then you're going to start pushing what you're doing to greater extremes, maybe eliciting more pain, or maybe if you push things, if you're that out of control, you might then start to push your partner's boundaries, because then that's what becomes being naughty. I know my partner has set the boundary there for our games, but I'm going to push against it because now that's naughty. So then you're actually betraying the trust of your partner. So you're practicing sadism and becoming more sadistic. You're losing the thrill of being naughty, so then you either have to increase the sadism or you have to redefine what being naughty is. And the easiest way, and people tend to follow the path of least resistance, is to then start crossing the boundaries of your partner, right? You've crossed the boundaries of like normal sex maybe by doing kinky things, and then you're crossing the boundaries of your partner to get that same thrill or intensity of excitement. So that's not good. That's not good. And so just be mindful of that. Be mindful of what you're doing and the longer term implications on you and love and sex and intimacy and all these wonderful things that can very easily be distorted. So initially I thought, okay, here's the thing though, if you have kinky sex with your partner and then, things kind of went awry, and then you talk to them about it, and, you say, oh, I wasn't very comfortable with that, let's not do that again, or let's kind of redefine the boundaries. What you don't do is say nothing, and then later on, accuse the person of rape, right? So that was what I had initially thought, kind of maybe that's what the story was. And then I, hold on, show. And so I know, quite tangential, says Champion. I know, but I think it's important that we have this conversation because nobody's having it. Everyone's just, there's two models, the globe earth and the flat earth, and everyone's just saying the earth is a globe, the earth is a globe, the earth is a globe, or they're just showing globe pictures on their YouTube channel, globe picture, globe picture, globe picture. I thought we were truth seekers. I thought that we investigated information. I thought that we looked for truth rather than just putting forward what someone else has told us is true. If that's the case, then why are you putting in globe picture, globe picture, globe picture? Because putting up that article is the equivalent of putting up globe picture, globe picture. You're taking information that you haven't investigated, that you don't know if it's true or not, and you're putting it out as though it's true. Well, that's not what the truth community should do. Also, don't slander someone for rape if they haven't committed rape. That's horrific. And don't accuse someone of rape when there has not been a rape, because that's horrific. And so then I thought, you know what, instead of just assuming that it's some weird kinky thing that kind of whatever, I should just ask the accused. Which is kind of weird to go to someone and say, by the way, this woman accused you of rape, and I just kind of want to know, was it just kinky sex that you guys that kind of got out of hand, or what happened there? But I did. I said, I read this article, and I kind of want to know more about the details. Because I am an investigative reporter, flat earther. And so that's what I did. I investigated. I tried to verify the information for myself so that I would know what is truth and what is not truth. And so then I found out that there was no forcible rape. There was no kinky sex. There was no please stop, don't, it hurt. No, none of that. That the whole thing was a lie. And that's a disgusting lie to be putting out there against a member of our community. It's a disgusting lie to be putting out there against anyone. I wouldn't even accuse one of my most terrible trolls of something like that. That can ruin lives. It ruins reputations. It can damage relationships with other people in your life who maybe don't know you well enough to know. And also, like I said earlier, it undermines real victims of rape. And we can't have that. And so that's why I'm talking about this horrible topic, because I am angry with the other YouTubers, prominent flat earth YouTube channels, who have not done their homework on this one and are just posting that video as though it's true. You're supposed to be a truth seeker and you're failing at that. So Sultan of Symmetry says, I saw the pictures on TV, so it has to be real. Exactly. It's the same attitude, right? I saw it written on a blog that nobody's ever heard about, therefore it must be real. How does that go again? Oh, but it was narrated by a prominent Flat Earth YouTuber. So a prominent Flat Earth YouTuber read this article out loud and recorded it about a false rape claim, and then that makes it legitimate? Because that sounds a lot like, if NASA says so, then it must be true. If Bill the Science Guy, Bill Nye the Science Guy says it, well then it has to be true. Because Bill Nye said so in his own voice. And so that's how we know it's clearly the truth. No, that is not good enough. Okay, so exactly, Champion says Globebusters posted it, so it must be true. That's the thing. If you are a prominent Flat Earth YouTuber, then you have a moral responsibility to use your power for good. But you do, actually. You can't be posting supporting false claims of rape in our community or in any other community. That's not acceptable. So now we can either, maybe I'll just show this little picture very quickly. Bill is an actor, not a scientist, says Cultrick, the culprit. Yes, and Karen B is a YouTuber, not a lawyer or a doctor determiner of whether a rape has or has not occurred. So also not in a position to be telling us necessarily that the evidence is insufficient. I'm going to show you something now. I'm going to show you pictures. and then we're going to move on to a different topic. But so yes. So the moral of the story, I stand with Antonio Subirats. I do not believe that Pat Steer was forcibly raped by Antonio Subirats. I don't believe I do not believe that Antonio Subirats raped Pat Steer. I think that's untrue. From the evidence that I've seen, I have concluded that it's untrue. Ta-da! Okay, I'm going to show you Putin our king again while I load up an image for you. Maybe also the pawns. I'll make the pawns image bigger. What do you guys think of this pond image? Lots of work went into this. So please do let me know. Tell me what you think about the little islands in the neighboring pools. Do you like those? I'm going to put the unicorn Putin because I'm going to save the best for that. I'm going to save the Putin with his laser bears for later. And then I'm going to take questions in chat. Now is a good time if you do have questions to get those into chat because I'm going to look at them. But first I'm going to put this for you to look at while I search for this image that I would like to share with you very quickly. And I'm going to turn my music up because it sounds like there's no music, and there is. It's just too soft. Or maybe the music was afraid of the topic that I was covering and it just decided to go hide. These things matter, you guys. These are people's lives that we're talking about and reputations, and that matters. That's important. We can't just say, oh, this doesn't affect me, so I'm not going to worry about it. It does affect you. It affects all women and all men. It affects people who have been raped, and it affects people who make claims of being like. This is important, and it matters because we're supposed to be a truth community. And if we can't even tell the truth amongst ourselves, then what the hell are we doing here, right? Like, what are we doing if we can't even verify the truths, the stories, the claims being put forth in our own community? Ooh, I'm getting all riled up. So, I don't know if this is too small for you to see, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and I'm going to read it, and then we're going to move on to the different topic. So maybe I'll turn this. Oh my God, Handel's Messiah. That we can put that a little bit softer. So number 1, Stephen Chess reveals that Pat Steer is telling others that Antonio physically violently raped Pat. Oh, I should transition. There we go, so you guys can see a little bit better. And so here we have messages here where Stephen Chess is admitting that by rape, what was meant was sex under false pretenses, where a promise of marriage has been made but not kept, or intended to be kept. And then number 2, Stephen is telling other people then that Antonio violently, physically raped Pat. Okay, and then I have to shrink this so it fits on the screen. And again, this isn't about me versus Pat. This is about truth versus lies, and that matters. Number 3, Pat claims Stephen is not wrong to say Antonio raped Pat, because in California, where Stephen lives, promising to marry someone and having sex with them while not actually intending to marry them is considered rape under the law. Pat explains this to Dan, that what Pat meant was that Antonio can be said in California to have raped Pat, because according to Pat, Antonio promised marriage to get sex without actually intending marriage. It was just all a ploy to get the girl in bed. And there's no mention of forcible sex at all. Okay, so now that that ugly topic has been covered, we can move on to something better that makes me happier. And that's more fun. But first, we need to see our king and his laser bears. That's what we should have, Flat Earth King, Vladimir Putin and his laser bears. I like the laser bears. Okay, so shall I put him aside for now? Yes, because it's too distracting for me. It just amuses me too much. Every time I see it, even in my peripheral vision, it just makes me giggle. Okay, so let's move this here. Ooh, sometimes OBS is very stubborn. Transition. There we are. Okay, let's see what's going on in chat. If you're still with me. I know a lot of people don't like to think about these things, and that's fair, but we have to, because these things are being discussed, and it's important that we sort out truth from lies. Show this comment. Show this comment. Merry Christmas, Fractal Escape! Thank you for the Christmas wishes. What else is going on in chat? Pawn theory is the best theory. Yes, I think pawn theory that we can see over here is a strong theory. I really do. Dan also is enjoying the pawns theory as a good one. Let's have some wine. Dan is asking about the sun and moon in the pond. Those will have to be added into the images later. Archetype says there are limits to our investigative abilities, and we have to accept some scientific authorities' commentaries as a foundation of our studies. No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't have to accept anything as true, as an axiom, as a given, and then work from there. We can always say, here's a theory that I find useful, but I know that I don't know whether it's true or not. I simply find it useful. That's an alternative to saying, well, I have to accept some axiom, some premise, some foundation to my knowledge to build forward from. And so I'm going to just take this one that the scientist said is true and take that as the truth from which I build my own understanding of the world. No, you don't need to do that. You can say, I will entertain it as useful without having to accept it as truth, without putting it forward as truth. That's another way of doing it. Okay, what's going on in chat? Lots going on in chat. I was being amusing. Yes, you are. I appreciate it. Okay. Okay, so do Marvel just had sex? Let's talk about that, says Practical Escape. You're referencing the Lonely Island song. I do find it quite amusing, that one. Okay, if you put your question in super chat, I will notice it very quickly. If you use my name, I will notice that very quickly because both of those things highlight it with color instead of just this wash of a white screen with black letters with motion going on. Okay, so I'm going to hide this and also this, and I just need to go remove someone from chat who's being annoying. So that will take me a quick moment. How are you guys doing, by the way? I hope you like the model. I'm sorry that we had to go into other topics, but we do what we have to do in order to be good citizens of the world. I just need to block this person. Block user. Submit. Refresh. I do want to do more Psy and talk more about Psy. There are all kinds of things going on that I'm quite excited about. But I am trying to keep my Orphan Red channel on Flat Earth. Also, this person... Oh, hold on. Put user in timeout. I know, guys, I really need a wrench. I just have trust issues. So that can be harder for me to just give wrenches out. Let me just block this user. Submit, refresh. Yes, okay, so. Dan W says, we're doing well. Awesome. That's wonderful. Need more wine, says Champion. Yes, don't we? Okay, so. We don't live in a model. The globe is a model. It is not a... nobody can claim that they know that the globe model is the truth. First of all, your globe model uses the Mercator projection distortion, and so even that is wrong. And so even if you look at the globe model as is that you see on Google Earth, even that is just a basic approximate model and doesn't claim to be more than that. It doesn't even claim to be accurate in terms of the angling of the land masses and their relative sizes, because it isn't and it can't. And so, yeah, and so you get put in a timeout for wasting time with stupid comments. Ooh, I'm cracking down. It's Sunday night and I'm all riled up because there are all these terrible things going on in the community. I was thinking earlier, you know, because some of the people that I met at the Psy conference found my Facebook page, and so some of them were a little bit surprised to see Flat Earth content on there, and they've been asking me a little bit about Flat Earth, and so I was very happy to have this image over here of the Flat Earth pond model to share with new people. But I was trying to find, like, what video should I send to someone who's completely new to Flat Earth, who's kind of maybe heard some of the debunking nonsense garbage in the mainstream media. And, you know, it was really hard. So I'm going to have to make one myself because I had a really hard time finding one video that had some of the stronger proofs that's up to date, because in the last couple years a lot has changed and we have new information, new findings, new discoveries, new proofs, and some of the old information that wasn't quite accurate has been replaced by better, more accurate information. and there isn't really one comprehensive video. So I'm gonna work on that, I think, in the next month. Serdar Sacek, thank you for this super chat. I appreciate it, and it lets me know that you're here. Hello, still. Thank you for that. I appreciate the support. Ice cream or ice ring? I know, right? Trust issues. Who'd have thought? Kasparov says a very good introduction to the flat earth would be Debunking Flat Earth for Dummies by Rob Skiba. The only problem that I have, though, is Rob Skiba is a very fervent Christian, and I think if you're trying to share information with people who are non-Christian, then that presents it's a wall that they hit up against right away, right? And also, although the flat earth model can be used to bolster the claims made in the Bible to maybe back up someone's faith in the Bible, for people who don't have that faith, then it might actually not have any effect, or it might actually, to certain people who are maybe anti-Catholicism or Christianity, not in terms of being Luciferian or things like that, but who maybe have just experienced or seen some of the abuses that have gone on, perpetrated by the Christian community in some senses, that might actually put them off flat earth, right? They might say, oh, well, this is just another blind faith belief system. So for those people, I would like to have videos that's more comprehensive, that says, here is observable evidence, and you can replicate the experiment yourself and you'll find the same data, and then you don't have to have all these underlying assumptions when you're interpreting the data to draw conclusions, right? That you can take the data and look at it through different lenses and see what you come away with, and you find out that actually the flat earth model is not just as plausible as the globe earth model, but it's actually more plausible. And then show, oh, look, here are observations that outright disprove the globe model, right? And I think that, to me, that's the kind of video that might be more useful to me for sharing with people that I kind of, in the social circles that I might interact with, right? Secular groups, says Risky Poodles, precisely. Hello, William Heckman. If you have questions, feel free to leave them in a super chat. Yeah, no, I will answer that one. What is above and below the pond plane? Well, that's actually the reason I said you should ask that in super chat, is because I think it's a bit of a silly question. And yes, there are silly questions. If we live here, then how would you go about finding out what is in the plane below you? How would you access it? What assumptions would you accept in order to make inferences about what data that would tell you anything about what's underneath that plane, right? So you can't just, I mean, people can tell you what they like to believe, and that's beautiful and wonderful if that's what you're interested in. But in terms of saying, you know, tell me what's 7 ponds away, tell me what's going on in the 8th pond over to the left. Well, anyone who gives you an answer to that is just talking about, well, blind faith, or they're talking about things that require so many assumptions, and they're making so many inferences that I think at that point it's speculation that can be interesting and maybe useful depending on what you're doing, but to me is less interesting, right? I think that there's evidence that there's an encroaching, disrupting influence coming up from the Antarctic, through underneath the South Atlantic anomaly. And we've seen pulses in some of the weather data. We can see these pulses where it looks like the HAARP pulses that lift the ionosphere up, because our ionosphere is kind of coming down and shrinking because the sun's not as active. And it looks like that, except for the source of it. Also, mainstream media reported that there are cosmic rays coming from Antarctica, and their model didn't predict that, and certainly can't explain it. There's no reason why cosmic rays would be shooting out of the ice and snow from Antarctica, and so they have no way of explaining that. And so they just, the mystery, astronomers baffled, everybody's baffled. That's the news article. But it does make sense if it's a system that's encroaching on ours, and maybe the goodies on our side are trying to maintain the strength and integrity of our field to prevent the collapse. Or maybe the baddies on their end are trying to disrupt our field even further so that they can come in and be worshipped as gods as they were in the past. Story time with Orphan Red. Once upon a time, in the far away past. Okay, so I wanted to do this just as a very short hangout tonight. I wanted to show you this cool image that I'm going to make bigger so that you can see it in detail, because I think it's quite beautiful. Ooh, isn't that beautiful? And I wanted to take a stand with Antonio, because I think that he's been falsely accused of rape, and I think I think it's horrific that all our Flat Earth YouTube channels are pushing this narrative forward by posting the narrated article, when they have, not only do they not have evidence that rape claim is true, but there's actually evidence that shows it to be false. And I showed some of it, but there are the Hangouts videos between Nathan Oakley and Antonio Subratz, and I don't remember if Martin Lidke was in on those, where Nathan is saying, I'm not even going to go in there into more detail, but there is evidence. And if these people, and also this bothers me as well, because it shows the power of the top brass Flat Earth prominent YouTubers to decide what is the truth for the community. So they're all promoting this article that has a rape claim in it, and they haven't investigated it. And if they had, they would have found that actually no, there's actually evidence that's been distorted. The story has changed multiple times. But it's not just that; it's that they decide who's in and who's out, right? When Pat Steer and Mark Sargent realized that I wouldn't be manipulated as easily as they had hoped, that I wouldn't fall in line, that I wouldn't say what they wanted me to say, and I wouldn't say what they told me to say, and I would say things that they told me not to say, they pushed me out, and they had the power to do that. And I went from my channel growing to kind of this pause, and then the people who supported Pat, then Pat sent them to attack my channel, to attack me, and I felt that, and so that was hurtful, and it was frustrating, and to have a small group of a handful of channels decide for us all what we then believe is true, right? most people have seen this article posted on Globebusters or Jeranism, or I don't know if Jeranism, I think he took it down, but on all these channels, Paul on the Plane, I think. So all these channels have posted this video. So you and I, as flat earthers, these channels that are prominent because we think that they're good. The reason that these are prominent flat earth YouTubers is because they have a lot of subscribers, because we trust that they're giving us good content. We trust that they're giving us truth. And so when they put this out there, then we might take it on faith because we're in the habit of trusting these YouTubers. And that's a betrayal of our trust. And when I was pushed out of the inner circle, smears and lies were put out against me, and no one took the time to verify, and no one took the time to kind of come to me and ask me and talk to me about it. They just smeared me and lied about me and blacklisted me. They wouldn't have me on any of their panels. People were told, if you have Orphan Red, then you will never have me on your channel, and they were bigger than me, being bigger channels than mine. So then people are like, oh, I'll just play it safe and I won't have Orphan Red because I want to keep having this bigger channel, because when I have this bigger channel on, I get more views and my channel grows. So this handful of people are determining for the community what is truth. That's horrific and terrible, and it shouldn't be like that in a truth movement. And so I'm countering that, and I'm saying, do your own research. Don't believe it because a prominent flat earth YouTuber said it's true. Look into these things, and also, especially when it comes to pushing people out because of accusations and smears, right? It's interesting, do you not think, that all these YouTubers band together and decide this one person is out. And interestingly enough, that one person maybe is more of an independent thinker, maybe is a little bit more rebellious, maybe they don't say what the leaders tell them to say, right? I thought we were a truth community. I thought that we were supposed to be independent thinkers. And so to have these people trying to control the narrative, that's disgusting, and we need to stand up against that and say, no, we're not going to stand for that. Antonio Suarez says, hello, Antonio. None of the UK flat earthers have mirrored it. And the reason for that is because in the UK, they can be charged with libel or slander. It's libel if you write a false claim, and it's slander if you say it, right? So presenting, it would be a defamatory video. So if a UK flat earther put that video on, then Antonio could sue them for defamation. So that's why we're seeing the American channels put it up, because the American channels think that Antonio won't go after them, because trying to sue someone for defamation of character or slander/libel from the UK to the US is a more expensive proceedings. It doesn't mean that he won't, and I think that he should, and I hope that he will. Jean-Maison Hesperog says, correct, Orphan Red. Cheers! Champion asks, what's more important, the message or the money? Precisely, right? It should be the message, not the money. Trust no one, says Champion. Oh, Sandra Kennedy. Oh, it's all blushing because Antonio's in the chat. Teehee. I know, right? Copernicus. Antonio, can you please, if you're still here, can you please block Copernicus? He's being annoying and I don't like it. Auntie Meg, hello. Can we speculate on the people from other ponds tonight? We could do. One of the things that I find very interesting, I was listening to a video by one of the Mysterious History YouTube channels, and they were talking about the sun, the Osiris, Set, Horus, Isis kind of dynamic, and they were showing all these hieroglyphs and carvings, Egyptian, and what do you call them, on papyrus, and images, I guess. And it was interesting because I think it was Osiris or Set. No, it was Set, who was represented always with blue-green skin. And we see that in ancient Vedic myth, ancient India, we see that as well, right? We see the gods, the rulers, having blue-green skin. So I think that that's interesting. This idea that the gods who came to these lands and had superior technology and were then installed as rulers and gave the people, you know, maybe more advanced metallurgy, language, agricultural techniques, and that's why they were put forward as leaders, accepted as rulers, I should say. It's interesting that in different places we see them as having blue-green skin, so I just thought maybe some of the alien pawns, the neighboring pawns, have blue-green pigmentation in their skin. Well, blue at least, right? And that would just mean that their blood has copper instead of iron. And we have, here's the interesting thing. Let me see what you're seeing so that I can point. So let's say that the people from this pond down here, let's say that their biology uses copper instead of iron to transport oxygen into their blood. And so then their blood is blue, green, kind of, instead of red, when it hits the oxygen. And in their veins, sorry, I'm trying to think about 3 different things right now and focus on OBS and chat, but I will minimize it so that I can be a little bit more coherent. I apologize. We have crabs that have blue blood, and we torture them to extract their blood because it's used for medical tests of some kind. But the point is that these organisms, they're just here, and we don't really know how they came about and how they originated and why we don't have a whole host of organisms that use copper instead of iron for oxygen transport in their bloodstreams. But we do see it in these, and I just like to speculate a little bit that maybe they came from, maybe in one of the previous cycles where ponds came together, there was melting, right? The suns clashed, and then the snow in between. Here you see the snow and the ice in between, so the different ponds, that melts, and then the crabs maybe come through, along with the humanoids, who also have a biology that uses copper instead of iron for oxygen transportation. And so they are also, they're blue, and that's where we get the blue bloods, right? The royalty is the blue bloods. Something to think about. It's fun. There's so much fun speculation that you can have with this model that I find quite delightful and enjoyable. So, and it just, you can tie in all these wonderful little ideas in, and it really works. I kind of want to talk about other things going on with the Lucifer telescope, but I think I'm going to save that for my next live stream. Okay. Risky Poodle says, their blood is orphan red or their blood is orphan blue? Orphan blue is actually a particular shade of blue. It's a very beautiful blue. Antonio says, I vote you give Metal Dog Rise, Dan W, and Love Wisdom Harmony, and Risky Poodle wrenches. No, I'm very, usually I give 1 wrench per live stream, and then I remove it after the live stream. Hashtag trust issues, yes. But yes, I know I should do that. So maybe I'm going to, oh, and I'm in the wrong account. So maybe for now, I will just do this. Okay, so I've given someone a wrench just to clean up. So not to clean up disagreements, but to clean up trolls that are just being trolly. Nicholas, hello, I'm happy to see you here. Um, Jaden Schwan, thank you. Jaden Schwan says, it's not crabs, it's horseshoe crabs. They're not a real crab. They're like a different kind of little animal, marine animal, but we call them horseshoe crabs. And they're the only creatures we know about with this copper-based method of oxygen dissipation. Interesting. Nicholas does not have a wrench, but he has a spoon. Is it a magic spoon? I bend spoons using psi powers, you know. Enjoy. Okay. Oh, I just saw a comment that I wanted to. The Green Children of Woolpit says, who was that said that? Oh, my mouse is being unhelpful. Hamon Certus says, the Green Children of Woolpit. Yes, exactly. These green children that were found, and I think that the boy died and the girl survived. And it's an interesting story from the past. I don't know. These kids were found anyway, and they had green skin, and they didn't speak English, and they were very sensitive to light, and they couldn't say where they came from. They just knew they came from far away. I just have to change the music. Joy to the World. Let's put that on a little bit louder. This is one of my favorites. Okay, I am winding down because I just kind of wanted to cover those two topics. The beautiful Flat Earth Pond image and the don't lie about rape issue. Oh, and also the be cautious when having kinky sex little rant. Those are my 3 main goals for my live stream tonight, and I've hit my goals. So unless you guys have any questions, I'm going to finish my wine and call it a night. Champion says, and you get a wrench, and you get a wrench. Send me memes. You guys, that's what I should ask for. I would love it if you guys sent me memes. Especially if they are Putin or Flat Earth King memes. And especially if they incorporate our favorite laser bears. Maybe laser cat. You know, the thing with Putin is I think he can't have laser kittens. He's just too masculine for that. I think it has to be, I think that the laser bears were the correct choice for that image. I'm just going to put him back up here. So, transition, there you go. So yes, please do feel free to send me memes that will amuse me, because that's always fun. Okay, questions in chat and then I'm going. If you enjoyed the content, please give the video a thumbs up because it helps to undo the demoralizing of the trolls that leave thumbs down on all my videos before they've even started. Jean-Vincent says thank you. Thank you for staying up, Jean-Vincent. I appreciate that. Putin-esque ice cream for ice cream. Okay. Kasparov asked me if I'm in the Vancouver area. I am for now. I was going to move to the United States to become a day trader, but I'm putting that on hold for the moment. Thank you, Auntie Meg, for being here. I'm glad that you enjoyed this. Yeah, so I've been getting a little bit more serious. Last week I did my plasma. I might cut the beginning out of my plasma Pleiades presentation from last week and just post it as a separate video. There are some, I want to make more videos, but I'm busy. I'm moving soon, and there's just this heat wave that is sapping my energy a little bit. So, Jaden Swan asks me, is there any form of more direct communication available to discuss topics of skepticism with you? So here's the thing. Actually, someone just yesterday sent me kind of this, well, kind of, they were angry, not snarky, but a little bit miffed because they kept trying to befriend me through Facebook chat, and I don't really do. It doesn't really work for me. But again, they were just, hey, hi, how are you? Looking good. How are you? And I'm great. Like I don't know how to do small talk, so it's really hard to befriend me through Facebook chatting because I don't do small talk. And when you try to do small talk with me, it doesn't work. So I'm really hard to get to know. I'm sorry, I don't know how to fix that. I would like to get to know more people. I would like to be more of a social butterfly. I just don't know how to. So, also, I spend my time thinking about different things and doing different things, and I always have a few projects on the go, and so, and I'm an introvert. I'm actually an introvert. I discovered this recently, that I have extroverted aspects, but at my core, I'm an introvert. And so I don't really crave or the attention of other human beings very often or very much. And so if I'm bored in line, let's say, somewhere, I'm not going to think, oh, I can get someone to pay attention to me. I will make small talk with someone in Facebook. No, I'm going to be like, oh, I can read this interesting article that I have saved on my phone. Right? Like that's, that's kind of how I am. I'm like, it's never going to be like, oh, I'm going to go talk about the weather on Facebook with this person who's trying to befriend me. Like that, no, that does not happen. It's just not in my DNA to do that. So I rather engage with ideas than be like, oh, I'm bored, I want someone to pay attention to me, so I'm going to go look for someone who wants to pay attention to me. No. So I don't know how to answer your question. I'm sure you're very nice and interesting, and I would probably enjoy talking about, I don't know, skepticism, but I don't really know how to go about getting to that point. I would like to do meetups, I think, maybe, because then it's in a social environment. If I'm in a social environment, if I'm in a bar, then that little extroverted slice of me kind of comes out, and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm social. Well, like this, right? And oh, I just want to engage with human beings and chat. And then, in that sense, then I can kind of banter and we can talk about things, and it doesn't have to be super serious, right? Then we can kind of just have playful talking with the human beings. So that's why I think maybe if I did meetups, that would work. But other than that, it's tough. I don't know. That's why I'm a loner. You too, right? Yes, a few of you are in chat are like, yep, I can relate. Okay, so a university bar would be fun. I think that I would like it to be more inclusive. I think for a university bar, then you're restricting the age range from 18 to maybe 25, because if you're older than that at a university bar, that's kind of creepy. But like a downtown bar somewhere, and just flat earth meet up. Okay, so starter stat check on Snow when my birthday is. I am a stubborn Taurus. My birthday is in May. Stubborn Taurus. That's me. Okay, I have to go. I'm all giggly, and I don't. This is all content. Sometimes I don't have to have content prepared. I can just kind of chat and babble and come up with little things, but I'm just not in that mood tonight. There are some things that I want to go read, and there are some things that I want to go prepare for. And I want to go check out the price of Bitcoin and Litecoin and see what's going on with the cryptocurrencies at the moment, because it's Sunday night, which means it's Monday morning on the other side of the world, and trading has begun, and I'm curious to see what's going on with that. Okay. Thank you all for being here. If you're subscribed to my channel, thank you for subscribing to my channel. It's nice to see that, oh yes, people are interested in the ideas that I'm putting forward. I find that nice and encouraging. If you're not subscribed, then feel free to subscribe to my channel. I don't know, because I don't post videos on a regular schedule. So if you're not subbed to my channel, then you may or may not see my videos, because it's not like I put them up every Wednesday. Or I'm trying to be more consistent, but it's still a struggle. It's my unpredictable nature. So, okay, if you enjoyed the video, put a thumbs up to counter the trolls, because I do have to say, it does bother me when the trolls come in and thumb it down, because then YouTube just says, oh, negative engagement, so then they don't put it as a recommended video, and they hide it, and they suppress it, and then fewer people get to be exposed to flat earth ideas, and that's a bit frustrating, right? So, okay, good night, everyone. Thank you for being here. It's been fantastic. I was glad to see all your happy faces in my chat. And to the people who were not in chat but are still watching, thank you for watching my video. And I will see you guys, I think probably next Sunday, I suspect. That's the plan. Okay, good night, everyone.